Damn it, Jets, you had one job. Grossi Posse Packer Nation. Welcome to an episode of Packcast, the podcast where I don't be a Packers fan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tom. I think I'm getting sick, but not of the Packers winning, Grossi. And as we've been doing the past couple of weeks, as these videos have been pretty popular, we're going to break down the top 10, in my opinion, teams currently in the NFL. And we already know who number one is going to be because, Sam Darnold is seeing ghosts, but apparently you can't say that because then Adam Crazy-Eyed Gase is going to get offended because he's a ghoul and not a ghost, and I guess he was just upset that he was being mislabeled. All right, that's my little rant. Let's jump into the rankings. Starting off with number 10. I wasn't going to, but I did, so you could leave me alone for a week. All right, Bills Mafia? At number 10, you have the Buffalo Bills at 5-1. And even though they have better records than a bunch of people on this list, if they had a really, really impressive showing against Miami, I would have been like, oh, okay. I feel better about putting you on this list. But to be completely honest, you almost didn't beat the Dolphins. It was a little bit of a close game. Now, I am going to attribute it to the fact that it is a divisional game, that these games could always be close unless you're the Patriots and the Jets or the Patriots and the Dolphins. But you did enough to win, and we're at this point where we've gone through 7 weeks of football, and you have only lost one game and won 5 of them. And so because of that, I didn't want to give this to the Cowboys. I feel like a lot of people are going to be all over the Cowboys for beating the Eagles, which I don't think is a significant turning point for them. They need to prove themselves against more teams. And yes, I say that as a team who has lost against the Eagles. But I think the Bills have earned enough where they can at least sniff the top 10. And that's what they're going to be doing this week at number 10. Then moving on to a dropper here, and that is number 9, the Seattle Seahawks, losing to the Ravens, in which they held Lamar Jackson when it came to actually throwing the ball, but they could not stop him on the ground, and there are not many teams that could go into CenturyLink Field and beat the Seattle Seahawks. But their defense struggled mightily, and Russell Wilson didn't have a good day. And when Russell Wilson doesn't have a good day, the Seattle Seahawks don't have a good day. And so because of this, they are going to drop down a few points. And also, the Seahawks, while as impressive as they have been, and they've been pretty high on this list, the game against the Rams, they were able to win it because Zerline missed an extra point. They were in a highly contested matchup last week. And so while I think Russell Wilson is still in the running for MVP with guys along like Christian McCaffrey, the Seahawks, they get knocked down a few pegs this week, but I'm sure they'll be back up. Then moving on to another team that is a dropping, and that is the Kansas City Chiefs at number 8. Now, I'm not saying the Chiefs are a bad football team. This is really solely only because they have lost Patrick Mahomes for a minimum of at least 3 weeks. It seems that he has avoided any potential long-standing injury, but this is still going to hurt the team for the next 3 weeks as they have a pretty gnarly schedule coming up. First, at home against the Green Bay Packers, who are coming in flying. But their defense, they looked pretty good against the struggling Denver Broncos. Their offense was able to get it done, and Matt Moore didn't look absolutely terrible. They still have a bunch of weapons, but we're going to see on Sunday night if they're going to be able to game plan without Patrick Mahomes and still field an adequate team. But I think they're going to be struggling the next few weeks without Mahomes. Then number 7. A team that is going up in the rankings, and I could not be happier for them. The Minnesota Vikings. Yay. Kirk Cousins has thrown 300 yards in the last 3 straight games. He's also thrown 4 touchdowns in back-to-back games. The offense is firing on all cylinders. I am so joyous, I could barely stand it. I could just die with this smile on my face right now. Now, the good news is their defense is looking a little bit suspect as Matt Stafford and Marvin Jones tore up that secondary. And so while their defense is giving me pause, and the last three teams haven't been the greatest that they've beaten, and they haven't put together the best showing, I got to give credit when credit is due, unfortunately. And so with that, the Vikings right now at 5-2 are sitting at number 7 on my list. But I'm not happy about it. Moving on to number 6, people are going to be like, Tom, this is way too high, and I'm going to say, shove it up your keister, and that is the Indianapolis Colts sitting at 4-2. Now, they played impressive ball against the Texans. After an impressive win against the Chiefs a couple of weeks ago, they did the same exact thing against the Texans. And I think that it's their defense, it's their run game, but overall, they are just a well-coached team. Jacoby Brissett is having a record day on Sunday, and I think that they have rebounded so well after everybody wrote them off, including myself when Andrew Luck retired in this offseason, this past August. But I really kind of love watching the Colts do well. And I think it is just a testament to what good coaching can do for a team, because they're doing well, and I think they are going to be contenders come playoff season. That AFC South is going to be an absolute race, and the Texans' chances of winning the AFC South just took a ding on Sunday. So for me right now, the Colts have done enough in the last 2 games. They have been really impressive, and so for me, they're right outside the top 5. Then, starting with the top 5, we have the Baltimore Ravens, which this team confuses the ever-living hell out of me. They have really close contested matchups against the Steelers, divisional game. They get blown the hell out by the Browns. Doesn't make any sense. But here, they walk into Seattle, and they win. And a lot of the reason is Lamar Jackson. Mark Ingram also leading that run game as well. Their defense not doing super duper well, but did well on Sunday, holding Russell Wilson to probably his worst game this season. But the Ravens, when they're firing, like when the defense is matched up with the offense, they are very, very dangerous. They're a very similar team to the Texans, which they have that high-powered offense, so the defense could definitely, improve. And I'd love to see those two teams go at it. But I think the Ravens have done enough that they're at the top 5, because if Lamar Jackson's playing well, they're most likely going to win. Then moving on to number 4, and we have the 49ers, who are still undefeated at 6-0. Speaking of, you only won 9-0 against the Washington Redskins, which wasn't really impressive because I started Jimmy Garoppolo, and that was a huge mistake in fantasy, which did not pan out for me at all. Obviously, the weather conditions and field conditions made for a very sloppy, muddy, slippy, slidey game, but that offense was pretty much non-existent, and Washington had opportunities to win that game, but the 49ers, again, their defense is pretty damn good, but their offense is lacking, so they were able to go into Washington, get away with a win, but competition is coming, my friends, and it'll be interesting to see how they respond to that. Then moving on to numero tres, that is the Green Bay Packers, sitting at 6-1 after demolishing the Oakland Raiders. Aaron Rodgers having a perfect day. Perfect day. First one of his career. Throws for 5 touchdowns, runs in for 1, over 400 yards. Absolutely incredible day for the Packers offense. And again, this is the 3rd game without Davante Adams. Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams not doing much on the ground, but they all both caught touchdown receptions. In addition, you had guys like Jimmy Graham. You had Jay Kumaro. You also had MVS catching touchdown grabs. Really just being like, here, you want a touchdown? Here you go. Here you go. You get a touchdown. You get a touchdown. You get a touchdown. Like Oprah out there, and showing how good this team really could be. And we have a deep, deep core of players here. And I think the defense obviously struggled without Savage. Their secondary got lit up a few times. They couldn't cover Waller. They couldn't cover Josh Jacobs at times, but still bending but not breaking against the Raiders. They're going to have a tough matchup against the Kansas City Chiefs this next Sunday night, as they have a bunch of offensive weapons, but the Packers, I believe, are just getting started. Then moving on to number 2, and that is the New Orleans Saints sitting at 6-1. Now, they went into Chicago, and they didn't have Drew Brees or Alvin Kamara, and they just put a whipping on the Chicago Bears at Soldier Field, and good God, the Bears had no response to this. And listen, during predictions, I was really, really close to being like, you know what? I think I'm going to pick the Bears here. They're at home. Trubisky's coming back. I am so glad that I didn't, because Trubisky looked like utter garbage. His stats don't show it, but that really was just all garbage time at the end. The defense was able to hold them in check, and Trubisky was just sloppy with the ball, overthrowing receivers. The defense was constantly getting worn out, really missing the presence of Akeem Hicks. And for me, right now, it ain't looking good for the Chicago Bears. They are going to need to get better. But the Saints showing again how deep that team is, and that so much talent on that team. Even when Bridgewater's underthrowing guys, Michael Thomas is able to dive and catch the ball. And again, Latavius Murray tore up that Bears defense. So the Saints definitely are sitting at number 2, almost at number 1, if it wasn't for these guys. Number 1, the evil empire, the New England Patriots at 7-0. And I was like, oh, maybe this could be the upset of the week. Wouldn't that be delicious? I was wrong because I believed in the Jets. And I thought coming off a beating the Dallas Cowboys, this could have been the spark that they needed to light the resistance that would burn the First Order down. Sorry, I was excited about the Star Wars trailer, which was the only good thing about that Monday night game. Yeah, 4 interceptions. The Patriots defense just decimated the Jets in every way, shape, or form. And yes, they have a very soft schedule. Yes, they're going to win the AFC East again. Yes, I'm going to cry when they make it to the championship at least again. But they have proven why they're a damn good team. And against these softer opponents, they have demolished them. And so after destroying the Giants' hopes and dreams, they just were like, hey, let's do it in your house this time, going against the Jets. And so because of that, the Patriots are going to remain at number 1. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. What are your rankings? What do you got? Do I got people too high, too low? Cowboys fans, where you at? Not in the top 10. You can always find me at TomGrossiComedy.com or at TomGrossiComedy on all social media. See down below. Check out Packcast on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, Spotify, and of course the YouTube. And a big shout out and thank you all the Patreon members over at patreon.com/TomGrossiComedy. We'll have a recap video coming out tonight as well. So thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. And as always, go Pack, go.